Hello everyone, Josh Silverman from Constantly Calibrating here with Miles Luna.
How's it going, Josh?
I'm doing alright, Miles. It's nice to actually be able to chat with you face to face instead of looking at this like avatar on Skype.
Normally I'm just aroused by the sound of your voice, but now I'm flags flying right now.
I mean, I can see, you know, it's quite impressive, sir.
I gotta say, I'm sorry I sound like the Godfather, man. It has been a weekend, and my body is just falling apart at this point.
So tell me about the voice you're doing currently.
The voice I'm doing currently is called I Drank Last Night and Played Cards Against Humanity with the Game Grumps, and things got weird, and it was great.
See, you know, I said we should have gone to that, and we decided to actually have dinner instead. It was
well,
bad
you
choice.
made a mistake, my friend.
Eating was not necessary at all.
Man,
we could have ingested the wonders, the energy.
It was probably the wildest panel I've ever been on in
Seriously?
my life, and it was so much fun. We are huge fans of the Grumps and Starbomb and all those guys, and getting to hang out with them and play one of our favorite games with them was just a dream come true. It was a great time.
I can only imagine, man. I actually know of Starbomb because I think from Kerry tweeting it all the time. And it was funny. I guess right around the time that would have let out, I got a message from my wife from relaying a message from a friend saying, "Make sure you meet the guys from Game Grumps. That's the only thing Joe cares about." I'm like, shit. There goes that. Well, but c'est la vie, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. How's the rest of RTX been? Let's try that in English. How has the rest of RTX been working for you, Miles?
RTX this year has been insane. Like this sounds like a commercial pitch, but seriously, it just gets bigger and better every year. We learn from the previous years. We listen to what convention goers want. We listen to maybe what didn't work last year, and it's just getting more and more streamlined. We have more exhibitors, so there's more to do on the floor. There's seriously a mech assault, death match, fully immersive. Like you get in a pod and you fight giant robots downstairs. Like that's awesome. The fact that we have that is super cool.
We didn't get a chance to try it out, but we walked by and we chatted with them a little bit, and we're like, this is. I don't even understand what I'm looking at. What you have here.
It's wild.
This is a really neat thing on the floor. Well, it was interesting. I came to my first RTX was 2 years ago, and it was much smaller, less people, and I worried with how much more people, how it would run, how the operation would be, but it actually weirdly seems smoother and easier to get around and easier to actually talk to people, and both Rooster Teeth people, both exhibitors, both guests. That was a weird few, a lot of boths, but it seems a lot easier to just get in touch with people, and it seems like the opposite of how it works, but it's the streamlined process.
I just gotta say, I guess it's our volunteer guardians, and Barbara and Gus are just amazing.
We talked to Dom from SideQuest last night, had like a 22-minute interview with him, and he's a badass. I will go on record, Dom is a badass. And the Guardians in general are just really impressive. Great. I think show up just about all volunteers at almost any other place. Yeah, it's been great, and everybody here is super super nice. It's just been great. It's one of the things that I really enjoy about RTX is obviously you go to like Comic-Con, PAX, all that stuff. It's super super awesome and ton of fun, and it brings in people from all sorts of different fandoms. What's really I think unique about RTX is it's a pretty good chance everybody here knows Rooster Teeth. So even if you come to this convention alone, not knowing anybody, you automatically have one thing in common with everybody in this convention center. And I think it's a lot easier to make friends and relate with people. And next thing you know, you've got a friend that you've met from across the country or maybe on the other side of the world that you can keep in touch with afterwards online and play games with and stuff. I just think it's really really cool. Well, it's that sense of community that Rooster Teeth has been founded on and has been based on. It's an awesome thing. Well, speaking of fans, usually have this question for the end, but you kind of give me an opportunity. What would you say, whether it's this RTX or any fan event, is the most either awkward or endearing fan moment you've had?
There's been a few times. I have the same answer for both. If anybody ever cries when they meet me, I don't think I'm that great, so it puts me in a really strange.
I'm really sorry about earlier.
We're gonna get through this. No, it's odd to me because I guess I just don't get it. I'm some 20-something-year-old dude. But to meet somebody that says they've been influenced by your work or by you or something that you've done to the point where they cry, I try not to cry. It's really overpowering, and it's really incredible, and I don't think I'll ever get used to it, but I think that's okay. It's moments like that are really just insane, but just like magical. I don't know. I don't have another word for it.
Well, it's cool. I came with the idea to ask that question. I wanted to ask, every received person, every special guest that question. And it was just the awkward fan question. You kind of have this expectation of what people are saying, but it's been almost I switched the endearing thing in there because that's pretty much kind of the response everyone's giving, and it's like so satisfying to hear that. It's humbling, like sponge humbling.
Sponge
I'm sorry, people. So okay, well, speaking of inspiration and stuff like that, what would you say are your inspirations as a writer? Where do you get inspiration from?
I'm really heavily inspired by, just in general, Gendy Tartakovsky, Powerpuff Girls, Samurai Jack, Dexter's Laboratory.
The original Clone Wars.
Love. I grew up watching stuff. Absolutely love it. In terms of, like, I guess, directors that are doing films right now, I love Edgar Wright. I think he has a great comedic timing, and is also he's aware that the camera can be used as like a gag. Like a lot of comedy films recently, it's like a bunch of really funny people doing really funny improv on camera, and that's great. But Edgar really has this really stylized and really fast-paced and awesome camera and editing style that I think is really, really fun and I love. And especially like Scott Pilgrim, I thought was an awesome adaptation of a comic book. Like the movie felt like a comic book, and I really, really enjoyed it. As well as obviously Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, all this stuff is
the whole Tornado trilogy is just
it's fantastic.
At its worst, it's still better than most.
Yeah, I'm a huge Edgar Wright geek, and then of course Matt and Bernie and the founders of Rooster Teeth. It's like you can't look at them and not go, I should try and be a little more like them. they obviously know what they're doing, and they're
lying because I didn't have the same thought.
They're all great at what they do, and I think there's something that you can learn from all of them. So yeah,
absolutely. All right, so let's talk RWBY for starters.
Let's do it.
You guys, so you showed off Volume 2. Can't keep remembering the volume part. Volume 2, Episode 1 was shown off. I heard earlier that was the first time you'd seen it. Now, there was a specific fight sequence, the food fight thing. Sorry, spoilers if you haven't seen that yet, but did you ever feel, or did anyone working feel, wow, this is the most ridiculous thing ever? Like, how'd that come to be? Because that scene was
I gotta tell you how that came to be.
Okay.
Monty Ohm said, I want to do a food fight. And then we were like, a food fight by Monty Ohm.
What is this?
That sounds like something I'd want to watch. We gotta give mad props to Monty for episode 1 of Volume 2, because that food fight was almost all him, and obviously music by Williams. And man, it was funny. It was super, super funny. That was one of like the coolest things I've seen Monty work on in a while. I really dug it.
What was it like during the panel when you showed that off? I mean, I was standing off to the side and you in the back, and I couldn't hear almost anything. People were just cracking up, laughing that whole entire stretch, and it was an awesome energy. Like, what was that like being up on stage with everyone? And because we talked a little bit about last year, the unveiling. How does this year compare? So okay, so what was the energy difference with the last year you unveiled episode 1, volume 1? What was the difference this year with the food fight sequence and all that thing? Like, how did people react?
There was a lot more laughter in the audience. Yeah. I think it's like it was like knowing like you got someone a gift, like they're gonna love the gift, and then just waiting for them to open the gift. That's kind of what it felt like this year, because I knew what I'd seen of Monty's food fight sequence was just awesome. And I think the fact that the audience was familiar with the characters, was familiar with the type of show it was going to be. This time they had a better idea, because last year all we had to go off was the 4 trailers. People weren't entirely sure what kind of show RWBY was going to be, if it was going to be all nonstop action, if it was going to be some comedy. I think now that people had more of an expectation going in, they're more prepared for what we showed them. And man, it was just fun. It was a riot in there, man. Blew the roof off.
Well, I think with the expectation of that, they can. you can relax as a fan, and you don't have to be worried, is this going to suck? If you're in that room for this year, you already know what you've got. You know what you
know if you don't like it. You know if you are going to love it. Like, you kind of know what to expect. And that was also something that was really nice for us as writers, especially new kind of amateur writers. Like, we'd never done anything like this when we wrote Volume 1. And we've learned from our... I like to think that we've learned from our mistakes from Volume 1. We know what we did well with Volume 1. And now we can build on that and do something even better. And also, now that we have most of our characters introduced, we can spend less time on getting to know them and more time on telling the story that we want to tell, which is big and crazy and just nuts. So that's fun that we're now past the introductions, and now we're into the meaty goodness.
That's awesome. So, new characters coming in. What would you say of the newer characters coming in? Who would be your fave? And it could be just who we've seen so far, but which child do you love the most?
Oh boy, we have several new characters. We also have some characters from the past that we're going to get more in depth on. I think my favorite might be... Sheesh. Oh man, that's so hard. I really, really like our new blue-haired beauty that we meet in episode 1. He's a killer. I love him, and he's such a ham. And then I love villains, and we get to learn a lot more about our villains this season, and it's just great. I love the new players that we've brought in this year, and you're going to get to hopefully love to hate them.
All right. Well, I think we have to about wrap things up. I was hoping to get to some RWBY stuff, but I'll have to drag you on something later so we can go a little more in depth into that.
Hey, just come find me, man.
I will do that. So, this is Josh Silverman from Constantly Calibrating. Make sure to go to constantlycalibrating.com. Miles, thank you for joining me, and we'll chat some more in the future.
Thank you, Josh.
As always.